and gentlemen, welcome back to Doctor Who Reviews. This week we are covering the Tom Baker story, Nightmare of Eden. And to discuss it with me, I'm joined, I can't speak, I'm joined by my two usual co-hosts. Slow it down, Brett, everything will be fine. Firstly, to my virtual left, he will do anything for mirrors, but he won't do that. It's Freezing Inferno.
That's a good tribute. Rip in peace, Meatloaf.
Yeah,
Your song was the best song on Rocky Horror Picture Show. Also,
he will be missed.
Download and try Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel now, because it's really fun.
Oh God, that's going to take over my life, isn't it? The way Duel Links did.
Just don't spend any money on it, because Konami, you're going to try and siphon every penny out of you.
Yes, please do not spend money on that or Duel Links.
Yeah.
Wait, is it free? You can get it for free?
Yeah, it's free to play.
It's free to play.
Fuck the podcast. I'm going to go do that.
It's pay to win. It is pay to win, but
it's actually really, it's way more generous, I found, than Duel Links starting out, because I got like 3 decks built now with a 4th on the way, so you can get them goddamn Badolshis. You can just go off. Speaking of Cat.
Yeah, speaking of Cat, to my virtual right, she is the alpha female of the human zoo that we call life. It's Cat.
I have severe questions about that.
Well, so Nightmare of Eden.
Yeah,
I picked this because I think I remembered a couple of weeks ago we offhandedly mentioned the mandrels on the podcast, and I was like, wait till you fuckers see the mandrels. And then so I was thinking, I don't want to do a David Tennant because we just kind of went through Chibnall era stuff reminding us of David Tennant, and I didn't want to pick a John Pertwee because you just picked John Pertwee. I didn't want to pick a McCoy because we just did a McCoy. I don't want to pick a Colin Baker because we only have like a couple of those left, so we really got to savor those. So that left me with either Black and White, which I really didn't want to do, or a Tom Baker. So I looked through the Tom Bakers, and that'll make an interesting talk, I think.
Yeah, and I'm happy because it's one I hadn't seen before.
So yeah, New Horizons. New Horizons. New Strange Things from the year 1979. And it's even got K9 in it, although I didn't realize it was not the John Leeson K9. He's still a good robot doggy.
It's weird to hear K9 not voiced by John Leeson.
And it's also speaking of K9, it's also by the late Bob Baker, co-creator of K9.
May he rest forever in peace.
May he rest forever in peace, and also in your signature, in his signature on your K9 book.
Yes.
I keep forgetting you've got him that K9 book with him sitting on it. Yeah.
Of course, she did. Cat's the biggest K9 fan on the podcast. I almost said K9's the biggest cat fan on the podcast.
No, it's a really cool item to own, especially with that signature.
It's a one of a kind thing now. So
it's not one of a kind. It's like one of 150 something. Or something.
Yeah, well, you're not going to get any more like that for obvious reasons, other than what already exists.
Unless you become a necromancer.
Which, let's not do that. Did I just hear a fucking switch?
I heard a switch turn off.
Oh.
You're fucking downloading the game while we're podcasting.
I don't know what you're talking about. Hurry up.
I mean, she made a Junko model, a really good Junko model, while we were podcasting. So why would she not download a game on Switch?
Yeah, okay. In the grand scheme of things, downloading a Switch game while doing the podcast is a little less distracting than hearing a fucking power drill while podcasting.
Set 2 cards face down, and then my turn. Right, so back to Nightmare of Eden.
God damn it. So let's just launch into it. I don't really have any history behind it. It's a 1979 story which is an interesting year for the show.
I have some history behind it. Drugs are bad.
Yeah.
Drugs are bad. Okay. As we'll get to. Yeah, this is the Doctor Who does drugs are bad story. But in a completely...
does it better than Dare ever did.
Yeah, but in a completely gonzo way. So why don't we just launch into it? Rain, kick
Certainly.
it off first, will you?
We start with a model.
It's only a model.
A big spaceship. We have a captain, whose name is Rig, and Sekka. And Sekka is a very strange dude because he's either lazy or he's involved in whatever the hell is about to go down in this episode, in this story.
And they're both surprised, but suddenly Darth Vader comes in and starts slashing them both with his lightsaber. Wait, wrong series.
Yeah,
Sorry.
wrong series.
I knew we shouldn't have taken the left past Scarif.
Nice. So yes,
But also,
so
this is
Captain
a space...
Rig and Sekka, we've got some passengers in protective gear.
Which this is protective gear is interesting. This is like a very 1979 look of the future, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's fucking big ass sunglasses and fucking aluminum foil ponchos. Aluminium for you.
And we should say that the ship's name is the Empress.
Oh my.
So Rig in charge of the Empress.
Mm-hmm.
And then, oh no, there's a collision.
Well, it's not quite a collision. It is and isn't a collision. Yeah, that's basically it, Kat.
Oh, did she drop a meme?
Feel their look.
Yes.
Because the co-pilot just doesn't give a shit if things are fucked up or not. He's just kind of laughing his ass off. And the Empress is currently going through hyperspace, hyperdrive, warp, whatever have you. I guess this is the thing. And they come out of warp, and there's a ship. As they're coming out of warp, there's a ship right in front of their way, and oh dear, they sort of fuse with each other.
Yeah, that's exactly what they do. I guess they molecularly bond together.
Like, yeah, one materializes where the other was, and they're just molecular bond, molecular fuse. Neat sci-fi concept, you know.
I would say it's less that they bond and more the fact that they're kind of phasing in and out of each other, because at one point they do say that it's a very unstable bond and they're rejecting each other.
Yeah,
Something like that. Yeah.
I think that's in episode 2 or something.
that is mentioned to Captain Rig. Yes.
And so, amidst this confusion, here's a blue box.
Yay.
The Doctor, Romana II, and K9.
Except not the K9 voiced by John Leeson, but the K9 voiced by David Brierley, because it's 1979.
Which is still weird.
A little bit, but, you know. He only had to deal with it for like 5 stories.
And this story has some excellent dialogue delivered by Tom Baker, and he gets one straight away here when he appears outside the TARDIS.
Oh, you noted this one too.
Yeah. We shouldn't interfere. Interfere? Of course we should interfere. Always do what you're best at.
Guess Chibnall take notes.
And then, 2 doctors later, they eventually put the Doctor on trial for doing exactly this sort of shit?
Yeah. Well, not on trial, no. They just say you're under arrest.
No. She's talking about Colin Baker.
Oh,
Yeah,
2
Colin
doctors
Baker
later.
trial
Sorry,
time.
yes.
Yeah, 2 doctors later.
You heard 2 episodes later.
I did, yes.
But
I know that there's already sexism in our podcast, but you could at least listen to me.
Oh, for Christ's sakes.
Unlike Frez, who never listens to me because he never listens to the podcast.
wow, she's insulting both of us with one stone there.
So, we meet the owner of the other ship, which is called the Hecate. Although I think they could call it the Hecate, which is wrong.
I don't know. Either way, it's the goddess of like magic who saw Persephone being kidnapped by Hades.
The goddess of witchcraft from
there's
Greek
your-
mythology, yes. You are correct.
There's your learning for the day.
Very good. Anyway, the captain of this ship is not a happy man because
Patronize me.
I'm not doing. He's not a happy man because he's having an argument with Captain Rig. And if you've ever been involved in a car accident, a minor car accident, you know exactly the sort of thing. Oh, you crashed into me, it's your fault. No, it's your fault. You pay for the damage. No, you pay for the damage.
Let me tell you something. I used to work in car insurance. That's all I need to say.
I'm so sorry.
And into
I
this
get the
argument,
stories I
waltzes.
can tell.
Yeah, I'm sorry to say. Into this argument waltzes the Doctor. Which is quite a funny scene. The Doctor,
He is.
Doctor this flips from being like super serious to really quite comedic quite a few times.
I mean, did you see that script editor credit?
No.
Douglas Adams?
Ah.
Ah,
And now you've said that, this whole story makes sense.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's very Hitchhiker's Guide, isn't it?
Just a bit.
But yeah, the other ship's owner, captain, is Diamond, which I kept correcting to Diamond
Yeah.
because it's Dymond, but no, it's Diamond. And to avoid suspicion, what are you still always doing here? Does the psychic paper get news? Because the doctor says he's from an insurance company.
Oh, no, the psychic paper doesn't get... They didn't invent that until Christopher Eccleston.
I didn't know that. I thought it might have been a...
No, only a new series thing.
Okay, so they just... He just bluffs his way saying...
It's just a bluff. This is why the Doctor got locked in cages so often in the classic show, because he didn't have a fucking thing that said, hey, you need to listen to me because we only got 45 minutes. And this writer is going to eat either way, so let's just get the fucking thing going.
Hello, me and Romana are from the Galactic Insurance Company. One small problem. The Galactic Insurance Company ceased trading in 2096.
Yeah, the captain
Also-
basically space Googles it.
Also, technically, you're wrong, Frez.
Oh, you're gonna bring this technicality up, really?
Yes, yes.
Oh, Christ!
Technically, technically, there's like a story called World Game. Sorry, I can't speak today.
Yes,
where apparently this fucking doctor was given psychic paper.
Okay.
So technically, you're wrong.
On the show, the psychic paper wasn't used until the new series. I know about World Game.
Captain
I didn't
Pedantic strikes
expect you-
again.
I didn't expect you to bring up such obscure pedantry to me.
Me coming in order to prove Frez wrong? Never.
Hell, Damage. Anyway.
Also, can I just say I'm still laughing about the lie too big joke they made with the psychic paper.
That's still the best.
That's
psychic
still
paper
great,
joke.
that.
Yeah.
I am a responsible
So-
adult and it just shorts out. So, what's happening with Sekka? Well, he's dying. Basically.
Yep.
And he's pissed off about it.
He goes into the coloured smoke. Hangs out with Lucy in the sky with diamonds.
Oh, look out! He's going to the vape shop.
He's got a stash of this drug, which is, oh god, Vraxoin,
Raxoin. Yes.
which they shortened to Vrax, which just sounds better anyway.
Well, the Owen makes it sound like, a heroin.
Yeah.
Like they got the sci-fi name.
I also kept thinking it was a character name, Vraxoin, as opposed to Vraxoin or.
Raxoin. No, Vraxoin. Yes. Vraxoin.
But when they shortened it to Vrax, it just sounds like a Bond villain. So
Well, now you're thinking of Moonraker, and don't make me think of fucking lasers,
no.
Brett.
see,
Vrax,
the
the
thing about
Destroyer.
Moonraker is the book would make a perfect Bond film now with some tweaks, because the film is nothing like the book.
Of course, yeah.
For one thing, Drax,
But,
Drax is an ex-Nazi in the book.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, like I said,
Well, that makes-
some tweaks, and it could be a perfect future Bond film.
Yeah, but so Sekka opens up this filing cabinet and he takes the stuff out, and the doctor examines, and he finds a sample of the stuff, and it is Vraxoin, an addictive fungal drug that the doctor has seen destroy entire planets due to mass addiction.
You just made that sound like a
Because
Pokedex entry.
Yeah, it basically, when you take it, the high just makes you totally apathetic. So that's why Sekka was just laughing his ass off and not doing his job, because he was
Yeah.
high as shit on Vraxoin. But
It's
then,
the withdrawal that gets you.
the withdrawal is like makes you really pissed off, and then if you don't get any more, you fucking die. So
Yeah,
nasty.
Oops.
there could be a cure for it, but we never find that out within the context of the serial.
Even though it's destroyed whole planets, I don't say there is. I mean, it
Well,
could
they
be,
burnt whole planets to destroy it, which is
Yeah.
dark.
Jesus, there's a lot that's dark about this story when you really think about it. like, it's going for the drugs are bad. Drugs are bad. Don't take drugs, kids.
The drugs don't
Don't
work.
take-
They do, in fact,
I
make you
know it's
worse.
dark, but they only had so much of a budget, and the budget had to go someplace.
Yeah,
And it just wasn't the lights.
or the monsters,
Or the monsters.
as we'll get to.
And then
Anyways,
we
the doctor
meet,
finds the space cocaine, and he takes it. Not takes it,
no,
but he puts it in
he
his
confiscates it.
That's it.
Yes.
He pockets the space cocaine. But then we meet a very interesting character indeed.
Rain, tell them what you told us as soon as you saw.
Yeah, I saw a thumbnail for one of the parts of this serial, and I said, "Why is the Doctor talking to a Ringo Starr cosplayer?" And then he opened his mouth to speak.
Hello.
And I said,
I am the scientist.
And I said, "Why is the Doctor talking to Doctor Strangelove?" This guy's accent is all over the place. And I am severely hoping that the actor is in fact British and putting on an accent.
Okay.
Well, let me tell you something fun. I decided to look him up. He's Australian.
Okay, I'm still vindicated. Oh.
Oh wow. Here we are 40 years beforehand, and we have an Australian and K9 in the same story. But it's not Australian K9. Not yet, anyway.
Yeah, here's
Almost.
we get to talk about Australian K9 again a bit later on when the
And
monster
then we
shows up.
come to this character's name.
Trist.
Chris.
Perhaps the most interesting thing of the episode actually is Trist and what he's doing. I would say.
Okay, I don't want to hear about what the Trist is doing. So anyways, Dr. Ringo Strangelove here has an assistant called Della.
Dr.
And she's the...
It's just combining what you said.
She quickly bonds with Romana.
She's nice. And we should talk about their invention.
Oh, this is the best concept of the entire thing. The CET machine.
The continuous event transmuter.
It's basically a very, very clever projector.
It's not just a projector. It's a matter transmuter.
It's alive!
So all these things aren't just projected. They were actually, like, stored in the machine on, like, crystalline laser space age bullshit.
Yeah, how does Romana put it? It's
technobabble.
Transferred to magnetic data or something?
Yeah. It was 1979. Everyone thought that computers ran on fucking spools of tape and shit, you know? A computer is just a really big cassette tape, yeah?
This is it. The animals inside Trist's machine are converted to magnetic signals. The electric zoo has stripped away parts of planets. That's from my notes.
Yeah, that's nice.
And that's what it does. It's literally taken parts of planets and stored it as magnetic information.
There's just a whole lot of planets where it's just there's a big ass fucking crater, and it's like, what the fuck happened? CET machine.
I thought you were going to say capitalism, but
Well, that too, considering
yeah,
how things go. Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
it's
I will
70s
mention
Doctor Who. I
offhand.
mean, it's always going to be an anti-capitalist message more often than not.
Yeah, more often than not. I mean,
Although it certainly has a bigger point to make about a certain vocation, shall we say, that shows up in parts 2, 3, and 4.
Look, listen. I swear to God, I just picked this because I thought of the monsters and was like, I didn't know it went that hard.
I believe you. I do actually believe him.
But by God, I'm going to be taking advantage of it. But
we know Frezno by now, Kat. If he knew about this beforehand, he'd never be able to hide it. He'd be shouting it from the rooftops right before he threw a capitalist off of them.
Okay, I like you
That's
for
a good
that.
point.
But also, you'd be surprised at what I can keep secret.
You'd be surprised what
That's
I can keep
all I'll
secret. Coughs and Colin Baker cameo. So
Touche. But I should mention.
You'd be surprised what I can keep secret. Cough, my next choice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is your pick,
Well,
isn't it? So
I will say though, you mentioned capitalism. The fact that this machine is experimental technology and thus rather expensive may come into play later.
absolutely. So the Doctor talks to Trist about his work as being a zoologist. He's immediately suspicious that he might be behind the drugs being on board. Although he doesn't tell
I mean, he
Trist
would be
this.
right, but
Yeah, funnily enough, his first thought turns out to be the accurate one. But he also seems to be against the CET zoo concept. Like just putting species in a container. He seems to be against that. And Trist doesn't help being really suspicious when he talks about how many people were on board your ship. Well, we had 10 originally, but then one died. And what happened to him?
I mean, you could have just said 9.
Yeah, he said what happened to him? He died. So he's not explaining how he died.
Yeah.
Either he doesn't know, or he does know and he's not telling.
Well, we'll find out soon enough as Romana's playing with the CET and loads up one of the places projected on it. It's a jungle planet.
It's a jungle out there.
You're in the jungle, baby!
And somebody does die. We got funny games. So, yeah.
So Della comes in.
I'm the only one who picked a decent song.
Yeah, Della comes in and explains that the jungle planet was called Eden. And in fact, this is where the guy who died on. He died on Eden. And his name was I think they give his name. I don't know if they give his name. His name is Stott.
They don't give his name here, but his name is Stott.
Yeah, we'll find that out later. But he was also her romantic partner. They were romantically interested, involved, something like that.
Yeah, it's typical 70s dialing it back. She just says that he was more than a friend.
So how's that co-pilot doing over there in the vape shop? Oh, he's fucking dead.
Yeah. We hear a horrible scream, and the next time you see him, he's injured on the floor, found by the Doctor and Captain Rigg, taken to sick bay, and then it's just like, oh, he didn't make it.
He's got an interesting he's got interesting claw marks. He's got interesting claw marks on his face, though. So something must have attacked him.
Yeah. If there's any consolation, he would have died anyway from his drug intoxication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it turns out the writers of this show have seen Star Wars because the Doctor goes into Rigg's quarters to look around, is immediately stunned with a blaster.
He's looking at the cabinet, and the Vraxoin is gone, and then he's stunned by a laser.
Not Rigg's quarters, sorry, Sekka's quarters. Sekka's quarters.
Yeah.
I've written Rigg for some reason in my notes, but I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, while the Doctor is down and thankfully just stunned, because that would be a really dark end to the series, the mysterious person who's in a tinfoil suit takes the drug out of his pocket and then gets away.
I'm done.
And then we get Romana K9.
And then Peter Davison gets up and is like, right, on with the Vraxoin.
Can you imagine if that's how Jodie Whittaker goes out?
Anyway, Romana and
it would be on par with Chibnall, so.
It won't be Chibnall writing her exit. It'll be Russell T.
Anyway, Romana and K9.
It'd be on par with Chibnall.
Yeah, mood.
True.
Romana and K9, then.
Yeah.
Yay.
The best team.
My favorite duo.
Go on, gotcha button, cat. It's your robot boy.
It's my robot boy, my robot good boy. Anyways, yeah, they find the Doctor and they're like, hey, they have this weird ass machine and those don't look like just images. I think those are actual things that they've got locked up inside this machine, and it's super unstable and super terrible. It's like so primitive. Honestly, I really like that whole thing where they're just like, man, this is really primitive, and Dr. Ringo Strangelove is like, oh, okay.
And also, the fact that there's a giant spatial distortion with two fucking ships in half in warp drive phasing in and out of each other
Which
is not
isn't
helping.
the whole thing. No.
Just dimensional flux and dimensional fields and shit are affecting this thing, which is like held together by two tin cans and a crystal and some wire.
And so the doctor is trying to help them separate the two ships. And unfortunately, the Empress is low on power, or it's cut off from power. I honestly don't know how it works because they still have life support and lights and the doors work and so forth. Either way. So the doctor needs to get to the power source, but unfortunately, everywhere they try to go is blocked by a, part of the distortion. And then is it the thing with Romana that happens first? Because I think it ends on them cutting through to the power source.
Yeah, it ends on them cutting through. Yes.
Yeah. So we cut to Romana, and she's looking at the different projections as she happens to click onto Eden, and she's looking at it, and then like this thing comes out of the projection. It's like this little ball of light, and it hits her on her neck, and she just passes out.
The implications is like a space insect.
Yes. Well,
No idea. It's
we all know what
never
it really
really
was,
mentioned
don't
again.
we?
Yeah.
Ryder's got to eat.
It was the Unmorphed Omega Ranger from Power Rangers SPD.
Oh my god!
That is such a niche joke.
Sam gets no
Such a
character
niche
development.
joke.
He's a ball of light. Moving on. Shout out to Linkara.
The part one cliffhanger's wild.
Yeah, so
so
Romana's unconscious. The Doctor had a grand plan that he was going to separate the ships while Romana took care of the TNT machine. She now can't do that. So they get through to the power source of the ship, and as Kat says, it's behind the door. K9, laser that door for me, will you?
It's just laser cuts a fucking wedge out of the door.
Revealing.
It's not really a door. They cut a hole in the wall.
It's a wall. Yeah, it's a wall. What? Either cutting out through the hull, yeah. And they pull open the thing, and hello.
Booga booga.
Yes, it's the honey monster on a really bad day.
Oh, so these creatures don't get named until part 3 or 4, but these are the mandrels, and
I love them.
And they look nothing like a monkey.
They're very special. The story is clearly trying to make them a legitimate threat.
Mandrels, not mandrills.
But the costume design it doesn't sell that.
It's a big, adorable furry monster.
They just look too cuddly, and like one even like is bear hugging the Doctor later on in the story. It's like they're not cute enough to be cute, and they're not scary enough to be truly scary. So they're just somewhere in the middle of this uncanny valley that doesn't quite work.
Yeah.
But God love them. I can't hate them.
This should have a plush made of it.
It should. So,
I do know how to sew.
Oh, hell yeah. So, part 2 comes up, and they're like, Jesus Christ, it's a fucking monster. K9, zap it. And K9 zaps it. And then a great line. This is like, Rig is like, so, let me get this straight. First, I warp drive with another ship. And now people are dying of Raxoin. And now there's fucking monsters on my spaceship. Oh. It's like, this is inexplicable. Oh, nothing's inexplicable, Captain Rig. Then explain it.
It's
inexplicable. It's inexplicable.
Also,
I honestly forget exactly which part this happens in. It might be part 3, part 2. I don't remember. But there is a part where Captain Rig outright says that if he's not careful and if he doesn't resolve this as soon as possible, he will get executed.
Part 3.
Which dark.
That's part 3 because he's under the influence of something at that point.
Which will...
I honestly couldn't remember exactly which part it was, because at some point once you're watching these all in one thing, it becomes all one thing.
Yeah, I mean, I shifted them, so I did 2 one day, 2 the next. So
and at this stage,
I just tried to break them up like that.
At this stage, Captain Rig has figured out that the Doctor is not from the insurance company and confronts him about it. And
he did. He actually did something clever, and he tried to look up the company the Doctor came from. And it
Yeah.
turns out it actually like dissolved several years
20
earlier.
years ago, yes.
There's some great dialogue there. You say you're from Galactic Salvage? Well, they closed 20 years ago. 20 years ago? I was wondering why I didn't get paid.
He gets another great line,
I
though.
love Tom Baker.
They're arguing with each other. Rick says, well, who do you work for then? Work for? I don't work for anybody. I'm just having fun.
That's Tom
And
Baker
Rick's like,
too.
everybody works for somebody.
Yeah, not me.
Oh.
The Doctor is the ultimate freelancer. I'm not talking a Danganronpa sense. Now you got that in my head, god damn it.
You started it.
I will not. I didn't sing the theme tune, though.
Danganronpa.
The incredibly. God damn it. The incredibly addictive theme tune that always gets stuck in my head.
Speaking of addictive things, there's a great line about the Vraxoin that I noted down. Whole planets get ravaged by Vraxoin while the merchants make fortunes. I think this may have something to say about something implicitly.
Doctor Who was never political.
So, Rig and the Doctor... Rig is basically like, okay, fine. You think that there's drug smuggling on my ship? We'll run the scanner. And so they run the scanner. Beep, 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 beep. No Vraxoin found on the ship whatsoever.
Uh-huh.
And like, yeah. Can they shield it? Oh, well, you couldn't really shield such large amounts like that. So, that is curious.
Can I just say that when he's lucid, I like the interaction between the Doctor and Captain Rig here, because he's suspicious of the Doctor. He doesn't know if he can trust him, and the Doctor, same thing with him and Captain Rig, but they do agree to work together. They do come up with an intelligent plan.
Unfortunately, said intelligence will shortly leave Captain Rig, but
yes, but the plan is for Dimmons to put his engines on full power, and that will separate the ships.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that works.
Well, it doesn't work, but it could work if.
I guess theoretically that could work. We're talking about science fiction here. There's no real basis to go off of. I don't know if two cars are smashed together. If you gun the engine on one, do they separate? Probably not.
You'll probably separate and pull the other guy's fucking fender out with you.
Most likely.
Top tip for people out there who drive cars and listen to our show, which is like what, 2 of you. If you have a choice between hitting a deer or swerving, hit the deer. Trust me, it'll be 10,000 times better for you.
Dang.
If it's a moose, hit the moose. You'll be fucked, but at the very least, you won't be at fault.
Oh, listen. Newfoundland is full of moose. I know.
I know full well. Me of something.
A moose completely fucks up a car if you strike that thing.
You've just reminded me of something that happened to my cousin while she was out driving once. So she, I don't think she'll mind me telling this story because she doesn't listen to this podcast anyway. Basically, she was going to hit a cow in the middle of the road. Okay. And she slams the brakes on. And the cow is not injured in any way.
Oh yeah, they're never injured.
But it hits the front bumper of the car buttocks first. So there was an imprint of a cow's backside on my cousin's car for 2 weeks.
Oh my god.
And then the father tried to get her to pay money for the cow that was dead, that was alive. And as he's shouting at her saying, "You've killed my cow," the cow wanders in from the right-hand side.
It's a miracle!
That's also another thing to note. If you live in a place where there's a lot of ranches, if you do hit a cow, most insurance companies will not cover the cow. But there'll be plenty of farmers who will like take the cow and try to hide it in order to get money from you for it.
You've just reminded me.
If a farmer tries to do that to you, they don't have a leg to stand on. You know, their cow should not have been there in the first place. Tell them to fuck off.
You've just reminded me of a genuine motor insurance claim from this country. because the comedian Jesper Carrot did a whole routine of them, and they were all genuine. That was the funny thing about them. But this one is not in his routine. But in looking him up, because I was interested, I did see this one. It's genuine. So the claimant has collided with a cow, and the question on the form is, what warning did you give the other driver? What warning did the other driver give you? And under what warning did the other driver give you? He just puts moo.
So good. So
I have no idea if he was paid or not. But anyway.
Nightmare. So back to the story. There's someone looming over Romana, just looking at her while she's unconscious before they leave, and Della comes in and is like, "Oh, Romana, oh no, what happened? Wake up." And Romana's fine. I guess the bug thing was just like a cliffhanger to make you go, "Oh, is Romana going to be okay? Is she going to be poisoned by the bug? Oh no." But she's fine. She's fine. She's a little out of it, but it's like, "Oh, you shouldn't have loaded up Eden on the scanner. Oh dear." Well, here, let me get you a nice drink to try and relax you. And so Della's making a drink, and then we see a mysterious hand drugging the drink.
Clara, what are you doing?
But it's at this point that Romana is saved by happenstance, but another character is stand because Captain Rig comes in. It's like, "Oh, I need to relax. Can I get a drink?" "Oh yeah, I'm just making one for Romana. She's not feeling well." And so Della's making a second drink, and Captain Rig is like, "Oh, you know what? I'll just take this drink." And so he takes the drink that was drugged and meant for Romana for himself. Uh-oh.
And then we get a really neat scene where the Doctor's confronting Trist over his CET machine and what's wrong with it. I love the little glint in Tom Baker's eyes when he's doing scenes like this.
Mm-hmm.
Just the madcap, impish delight that he barely tries to hide. And he's like going through these different components. You know, does your machine have this? Does your machine have this? You've got the transcript, haven't you, Jerry? What's the thing he says?
It's just basically a bunch of techno babble.
Yeah. I will have the transcript for you in 2 seconds. Chakotea.
It's a something stabilizer.
Hmm.
It's like a
Okay, where the hell are
stabilizer?
we? Nightmare of Eden. No. Dimensional.
Yeah.
Let me see here. There's the spatial integrator, transmutation oscillator, hologistic retention circuit, the dimensional osmosis damper.
That's it.
The what? The what? You mean you haven't even got a dimensional osmosis damper?
Please don't do a German accent ever again.
No, hang on. I gotta ask this. Does it have the German accent in the transcript, or are you just doing that for fun?
I just did that. It does not have these.
Okay.
Please don't ever do that
Just
again.
making sure.
Okay.
All right, writing that on my list of things to do to trigger Rainiac.
It doesn't trigger me. I just want to insult our fans from Germany.
Much love to you. Much love to your fans from Germany.
Hi, Cold Death. How you doing?
Rainiac can't play the cake boss fight in Super Mario RPG.
What?
Because of the German chefs.
Oh,
of course I said I don't want to insult people on this podcast from Germany. Oh, forget you.
Love you too, honey.
But anyway, the upshot is the Doctor thinks the monster that they saw
fight, kiss,
has escaped from the CET machine.
Did someone say fight?
Yeah, so the upshot is that Trist agrees to switch off the machine until further tests are done. The monster probably got out of it, although he denies this.
I mean,
and I think the very next time we see Trist, he's turned it back on.
Yeah, well, we'll yeah.
They're not hiding the fact at all that this dude is dodgy as fuck.
Meanwhile, Captain Rig is high on life and Fraxoin.
Mostly Fraxoin, yes.
Cocaine.
So he's just laughing his ass off, like, my career's totally fucked and nothing matters.
This gets really dark, like in part 3.
Yeah.
When people start to
Doesn't
die.
it? And so the doctor is sending K9 to fix the power by doing some stuff in the control room to let K9 through. And so K9 gets through, but then the dimensional breach like fizzles back up and basically traps K9 on the other side.
Oops.
And then the Doctor was attacked by Mike TV from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
So this is some writers got to eat shit here.
It's about the only writer's got to eat, I think, in this entire thing.
Yeah, to be fair, but I mean, it's very much like, okay, this has been like 2 minutes too long. What the fuck is going on here? So it's a guy in like the shiny aluminum foil onesie and glasses, and the doctor is chasing him down several flights of stairs and through passenger cabins, and getting interrupted by an impatient Karen who's been waiting forever. When are we going to get there? I demand to see your manager.
I love what he says to her. It's like, I'm looking for someone who looks exactly like you.
Demands respect.
Where can I find someone dressed like you, madam? Have you tried the room that you're in where there's like 25 of the bastards?
Yeah. So this is almost like Chekhov's impatient Karen, because she'll pop up later.
Chekhov's
and it's darkly funny.
impatient Karen, what?
Chekhov's impatient Karen.
Chekhov's got a gun.
The guy escapes into the vape room with all the smoke, the dimensional flux, what have you.
420 blaze it.
The flux.
Mm. And Captain Rig is still completely high as utter fuck, and he basically thinks that the Doctor and Romana are narcotics agents.
Yeah. Which, that's a bit on the nose given what's about to happen in part 3.
Meanwhile, what's happening in part 2 is, hang on. What happened to the frame rate? What are we working on 10 FPS here? What's going on here? Or our ping must be high because we're really like lagging here. What the fuck is going on there?
Terry, turn off the microwave.
So yeah, this is a stylistic choice, I guess, to represent the dimensional fuckery that's happening with the two ships. And basically, there's a bunch of wrestling in low frame rate land, and more of the monsters are coming out of the vape room. For lack of, I wrote it as the vape room because it's an anti-drug story.
The Doctor briefly brawls with the man that he was chasing, and then one of the mandrels turns up. The Doctor gets away from it. It's still Randy's got to eat, I guess, but it does have a purpose.
Something shoots at the monster to distract it.
And then he gets out of the unstable zone, and there's Romana. And here's the whole point of that whole scene. The Doctor managed to remove something from the man when he was fighting him. A radiation wristband, or he dropped it when he was running away, but the Doctor's got it now anyway. And what's the name on it? Volante.
Volante.
And what's Volante? It was a song by DJ Sash in 1999. It was also...
Dr. Ringo Strangelove's ship.
Yeah, and it was also a ship in James Bond.
Ooh.
Also, this is forever going to be his name now. I just hope you know that.
Fine. I mean, it's better than making jokes about Trist, am I right?
Yeah.
So, anyway, moving on to the next scene. Who's in it? Oh, it's Dr. Ringo Strangelove.
Yeah, and this...
He's got the machine on. He like you said, he's got the CET right the fuck back on, and Della's like, hey, didn't the doctor tell you to turn that thing off? And he's like, oh, I'm just checking it. I'm just making sure that it's going to work right for when we get it fixed. It's fine.
I'm not going to do the accent because I'd be a hypocrite, but he tells Della, this is a very elegant solution to our problem.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Hans Wolf.
Oh my god.
Yeah. But anyway, he also mentions that he thinks he knows who's been smuggling the drugs. He thinks it's Stott. And how convenient that he's blaming what he thinks is a dead man.
And also how convenient that who he thinks is his accomplice is right there.
Yeah.
Ooh, why, weren't you two rather close? Kinda suspicious if you ask me.
I think Dr. Ringo Strange's been playing Among Us too much because he's sus.
Bum 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 bum
He's
bum.
both sus of Della and he is sus himself.
Yes. But either way, he offers to help the doctor find the drug smugglers.
And how is he going to do this? By using the machine that he was told to turn off.
Ooh. But K9 is surrounded by mandrels on the other side of the dimensional void. And we're getting to the end of the story of part 2 here. And, well, if you want to get really political in the story, it's only one thing to do.
Oh.
Bring in the cops.
Well, they're not actually cops.
But they...
Space police.
They act
They're
like
basically-
cops. They act like the Keystone
like
cops.
customs officials?
Yeah,
for
they're
this
excise
planet?
men.
Excise
Customs
men.
and excise
They're-
officers.
This
except they...
absolutely does not say a single thing about the war on drugs and how the true win of the war on drugs is drugs.
No, not at all.
Mm.
It doesn't say anything about faceless bureaucrats and red tape.
Yes, I mean, it certainly doesn't say anything about cops favoring promotions over
The
justice and shooting first and asking questions later.
the most interesting thing about these two space cops is who's playing one of them.
Oh.
Yeah, because we've got Fisk, but we've also got his underling Costa, and Costa is played by Peter Craze,
No.
Michael Craze's brother.
No.
Neat.
Ben.
I don't think. Yeah, we've done macro terror, so we've seen Ben.
Look, do you think I remember all these people's names? I'm lucky to know who Ryan Reynolds is.
Previous
Now, Kat,
previous
I know you're
partner
joking.
companion
You could
Ben.
never forget. You could never forget Ryan Reynolds.
You mean the real life Deadpool? Never.
Exactly.
I
So,
still that
the
down by
doctor's
that.
basically-
It's called the Highland Thing. Why? Because we fling ourselves out the door.
Classic. So the doctor is basically like, "Oh, hey, authority figures. Great, there's these drug smugglers on board. Forget that. We need to see your identification." Well, I haven't gotten the identification. Well, it's a funny bit. It's like name and date of birth. Well, I don't know their name and date of birth. I'm trying to find the drug.
No,
smugglers.
yours.
Yours. I'm the doctor, and I was born sometime soon, I think. So it's basically, but then they use their scanner and they scan the two of them. Romana's clean, but the doctor's pocket is picking up traces of a highly illegal drug. Because he has his
no.
So he's
And the
arrested,
doctor-
but before he can be arrested, he says, "I've got one very important thing to say. Look over there!" They just run away.
So they
Well,
run
I
away.
promised myself that I would not get into a political rant, but all I'm going to say is this, heavily reminds me of all the times where people are arrested on very, very minor drug charges. They just have possession of it with no intent to distribute it or anything. And then they get like maximum punishment, essentially. And in
Yes.
this case, for the doctor, it'd be being shot.
See, I
yeah,
don't
'cause-
think this has got the war on drugs, like the American war on drugs, in mind. Because it
I
was
mean,
written
that-
in
No,
the
but
UK.
it's very similar.
Yeah,
it hadn't even
there are a
really
lot of
happened.
parallels.
I mean, death of the author. It definitely resonates with that in mind today.
I think
Even
that
if they didn't
particular
have-
part of
79?
it is a coincidence, but it's a very close coincidence.
Yeah.
No,
I
yeah,
know.
this was premiered back in '79, and the war on drugs didn't start until the late '80s, early '90s.
Like
that.
1984 or 1985, just ballparking that general area.
Yeah, so basically, this is another Simpsons did it just with Doctor Who.
And the cliffhanger is not much to write home about here. They're being chased by the two customs men. There's no way out except into this projection jungle here.
Into the
go in.
projection.
And they just run to
And
the
so
projection. I think the doctor takes something from the machine before he does it.
Yeah, he takes the dial so that they can't change the projection.
Very good idea, so you're not stranded.
Yes.
Don't touch that dial, you'll kill us.
So part 3 is fun. So they're in the jungle. This section of synthesized planet Eden. And it's like, well, what do we do now? Let's go east. How do you know that's east? well, let's go this way and call it east.
Well, why can't it be north?
Whatever. So they go through the jungle, and there's a spooky monster.
Oh no.
Yeah, unfortunately for the Doctor and Romana, somebody summoned Predaplant Clentimizia in attack mode.
Speaking of attack mode, I have totally not been playing the tutorial of this, and it turns out that trying to put in the name Concave U, is illegal, and I can't do that. So I have to think of a new name to
Why
put
is
in.
that illegal?
I don't know. That happens all the time for me. It's like the only thing I can think of is that it must be the word cave, but otherwise I don't know.
Unless it's a swear, like there's a swear word in that name in a different language or something, but that's really strange.
I don't know, but it's like whenever I have things like this, if it doesn't allow me to use the full concave usurper, my usual go-to is concave U, and there have been so many times where that's not allowed, and I don't understand it.
So
Anyways,
while everyone else
random
is playing
stupid
card
Japanese
games.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in Doctor Who, they mentioned that because the CET is so primitive, the Doctor Romana could just walk right through the dimensional projection thanks to its instability and the general dimensional fuckery happening. And so the corollary of this is anything could have walked right out of it.
Important plot point alert.
Yeah.
But then the actual confrontation between the Doctor and the man-eating plant is wild.
Oh, this is nuts. So yeah, a giant plant
A
monster
true
attacks
mean green
them.
mother from outer space.
And it looks like Romana's been had.
Yeah.
I love you for that.
But
I hate you all the rest of the time, but I love you for that.
But yeah, Romana basically lifts the root up to the Doctor as he's struggling with this thing, and the Doctor just bites into the root and tears a bit off, and fucking green ooze just gushes out as the thing withers away. Jesus Christ.
And then Tom Baker says that he likes the taste.
The Doctor's a vegetarian.
He took a bite out of crime and he liked it.
Oh my god. Speaking of taking a bite out of crime, the customs officers are basically just bureaucratic idiots.
They are the Keystone Cops, aren't they?
Yeah, but also, they're the bureaucratic fuckers that the Doctor has to outwit.
They've
for
sort of
the rest of the story.
enlisted, I didn't call him by his real name, Dr. Ringo Strangelove, to help them. Because he knows they escaped into his room where the machine's set up, and like, what's that machine? Oh, it's just the CET machine. They don't think to go inside the projection, which is good. And then there's some nonsense about a locked door. And then Ringo Strangelove's like, it's not locked, it just needs a pass key.
It also turns out to just be the VIP bathroom.
Yeah. But
this door isn't locked. You just need a key to open it.
By needing a pass key, it is locked.
Yeah. You've been spending
Idiots.
too much. Yeah. But the Doctor and Romana hide and try not to make any sound to evade a mandrill, and then a mandrill jumps out of the bushes right in front of them. So, good attempt. But luckily, they're saved by a laser shot. And it's a man who's dressed in the same outfit as Dr. Ringo Strangelove has been. It's the missing expedition man, Stott.
He's not dead.
He's been living on Eden in this thing for the past 6 months.
How horrifying is that?
Yeah, so he's been stranded. So as he explains it, he explains, yeah. He explains it later, but basically, he got attacked by the mandrill. Well, it comes a little later, but basically he got caught up when this part of Eden was transferred to the CET, and so he was stuck here in this little jungle for 6 months until the spaceship crashed, when he could just walk out of it.
Yeah. And he's not just a crewman, is he?
No.
No. He's also a narc. Literally.
Yeah.
He works in the narcotics department trying to figure out who's smuggling all these drugs.
So when Riggs said that he thought the Doctor and Romana were narcotics agents, he was not too far off.
Yeah.
There was an agent on board his ship, it was just not the Doctor or Romana.
And he technically wasn't on board the ship.
Technically he was on board the ship even, but
Yeah. And so
Made up
Stott
about it.
suspects the CET is being used to smuggle the Vraxuin because if it's inside the machine, crystallized and miniaturized or whatever the fuck, it won't show up on drug scans.
He also thought that the Doctor and Romana were the drug smugglers initially. Then he overheard a conversation they had, and now he thinks that it's not them. Seka could have been involved, but he obviously was not the ringleader. He was just a cog in the machine.
And also a user.
And then, I can't believe I'm saying this. Oh no, first they leave the projected jungle, don't they? And they end up next to K9. And stop like, what's that? Well, it's my robot dog.
Well, Stott also mentions that during his time here, 6 months of being stranded in a hostile jungle with mandrills and man-eating plants and all this shit, he's been looking for the Vraxuin stash that's being smuggled, but he's found absolutely no trace of it. But he knows it has to be somewhere in Eden.
Yeah,
6 months.
Near, far, right where the fuck you are.
Basically. So yeah, they walk through the wall, they find K9, and oh, this is a cute moment.
That's Pipe's cat.
This is so cute.
This is pretty good.
Take it, cat, because you're the K9 fan, the biggest K9 fan.
Oh, sorry, I was playing a children's card game. Let me actually pull back up the wiki.
The worst thing is I know this isn't a bit. I know you're actually doing this.
Look, there's...
I understand. You just have to get Monster Reborn. You just absolutely have to get that Monster Reborn card.
Fuck Monster Reborn. You know what I want? I want my Madolches.
They've added that to Duel Links, by the way, and it's created havoc.
Cat, I'm just gonna say I'm like, we're on the podcast right now, so I'm not really gonna be giving out tips, but yeah, don't spend your gems yet until I can tell you like the most efficient way to spend your gems.
Yeah, I wasn't planning on spending my gems anyways.
Well, seriously, thanks for telling me that before I spent my gems, Jerry.
Fucking.
I only spent 1,000. I'm all right.
Okay, you're good. Well, I'll give you the tip. Anyway, story.
Yes, story.
Okay. K9, the doctor says, no, K9, Stott's a friend. And K9 sniffs him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Friend verified. And then we get the successful firing of Chekhov's Impatient Karen, because Impatient Karen is talking to one of the customs cops. And they head to the elevator and open the door, and mandrills come out and fucking just eat them both.
They kill everybody, yes.
And fucking Rig is high on his ass, watching his passengers get massacred, laughing his ass off.
Yeah.
This is so fucked up.
This is messed
and
up.
One of the cops comes in and is like, what the hell's going on? Look at this shit. What the fuck are you doing? What's your problem? These people are being murdered. You're gonna be fired and executed. I know, isn't that the most hilarious thing you've ever seen?
It's the drugs that are kicking in.
Yeah,
the drugs are well and truly kicked in at this fucking point.
I'm actually really sad because I kind of like this character, and the fact that he just, gets drugged out of his mind and then eventually killed is really sad.
Yeah, it's a bit of a waste of him, really.
Yeah.
So the doctor, meanwhile, is fucking around in the power room and doing a hack to try and separate the ships. And then the mandrill gives him a bear hug.
Yay.
It's the Yeti!
But luckily K9 is there to stun it. And I love the acting from Lila Ward here, because this mandrill just passes out in the middle of this chamber, and Romana, to get to where she was to go to the doctor, just hops over the body.
Yeah, I hope that was an audible that she called. Because that's really good.
Yeah.
So they think it's dead because K9's hit it with its laser. It isn't actually dead yet, but
K9 doesn't really kill laser.
I feel happy. It's not just the drugs.
I think the doctor says, I think you killed it, but Maybe it's the way the thing fell over. Maybe he thought it couldn't possibly be alive.
Anyway, Tristan, the lead customs cop, are talking now.
That's Fisk.
Fisk, and he's basically like, look. If please try not to kill the mandrills. What are you talking about? They're rampaging all over the fucking... Yes, but I mean, strictly for preservation purposes. I mean, they are an endangered species after all. Try and stun them.
Sure.
We don't have any fucking stun guns. And in fact, he basically says his orders to his guards are basically shoot the Doctor and Romana on sight if they show any resistance to being arrested.
Yeah.
Which, definitely cops.
They're not... It's weird how they are customs agents, and customs agents are not cops, but they are written as cops.
They're cops. They're fucking cops. It's like...
These characters specifically are written as cops, but customs agents and cops are two different things.
All custom agents are bastards.
Yeah. So, meanwhile, also, later on, as we see, Dimmond and Trist are having a conversation.
This is where the cat kind of gets out of the bag a little bit.
Just a bit. Hey,
Oi.
she's not out of the bag. She's busy learning how to synchro summon.
I already know how to synchro summon. What I'm trying to do is get through all these fucking notifications.
I meant the cat as in the animal, not the excellent podcast co-host.
I know you did. But
What, so you're saying I'm not an animal? I am an animal. Excuse you.
The non-human animal.
Brainiac, you can't win. Just talk about the story.
Just talk about the story.
You were so keen to talk about the story. But can I take a few seconds to talk to you about Blackluster Soldier?
I'm keen to talk about the story because I have fucking 40 minutes left.
I know, we also have a time limit, so...
So let me tell you about my Dolces.
3, 2, 1.
You brought this on yourself. No, we are not cutting this out. How dare you?
Okay.
All right, the story.
Keep it in, see what I care.
Chekhov's mandrill. Chekhov's mandrill wakes up.
Oh, I was talking about Dimmond and Triss conspiring.
Yeah, all right. As I said, the cat, not this cat, is out of the bag somewhat here. But they are working together. Now, they were on the ship together. They were part of the same crew. But this conversation rather hints at more than that.
Dun dun
Let's
dun.
talk about, if they find anything, they won't find anything. But what if they do find something? They won't find anything. Relax. And talking about
Speaking of finding something, this is when we find the major
clue. Put in one of those always sunny cards where the Doctor proceeds to find something.
Yeah, and then that's when Chekhov's mandrill wakes up.
Mm-hmm.
Oops.
Because the Doctor thought it was dead. Surprise! It wasn't dead, it was only stunned. So it springs back to its feet. It goes after the Doctor again. And then I kind of feel sorry for it. Because the mandrills, they are the monster of this particular story.
They're just like animals.
They're not evil, are they? They're just beasts.
No.
They're just animals.
Yeah. Like they're mindless beasts. They've got a brain.
I mean, they're like, apex predators, I guess.
They're animals that find themselves forcibly taken out of their environment. Of course they're going to act up.
Yeah, they're just,
So
but either way,
this poor mandrill is not deserved, but it attacks the Doctor. The Doctor then manoeuvres in front of some electrical connections he's set up to separate the ships, and he begs the mandrill not to attack him. The mandrill doesn't listen. The poor thing hits the electrical cables, screams in horrible pain, and dissolves into Vraxoin.
Holy shit!
Oh, shit.
The fuck? Yeah, so this is a really wild twist. The fucking drugs are the monster of the story. Literally.
So the green is Vraxoin?
And then we get a revealing bit with the customs agents, where they're like, man, a lot of people died. Do you realize what this means? This is a big case. If we solve it, we'll get a promotion. We've got 2 perfect suspects ready to pin all this shit on, and then we'll get the glory and we'll get promoted. Yeah.
I'll have to give ourselves a promotion.
All they can fucking think about is getting a promotion, arresting the Doctor, well, probably arresting the doctor. They'll probably see him fucking blink and be like,
And then Captain Rig, unfortunately, gets the worst kind of intervention.
yeah.
So
Romana's-
Romana gets to the control room. Rig is there, and I think he's off the high of the Vraxoid at this point.
Yep.
Yeah, he is.
He's on the come down, and Romana's like, "Oh hey, Captain Rig, I just need to hit this button, then we can get you some medical attention. I need you to give me some more of the drugs, Romana. Let me just hit this
I
button,
know you
and
have
then
it. Give it to me.
you don't understand. I need the drugs, Romana." And then he just attacks her. And Fisk actually does something useful for once and shoots Rig dead. He could have stunned him, but we kind of set up that they didn't have stun weapons.
He doesn't shoot him dead because he just stuns him. Yeah.
No, he kills him.
No, he's dead.
He kills him
because I could have sworn he got arrested in part 4.
No, he's dead because he talks about how Romana's about to die to join him.
I see. Okay.
And also they have no stun weapons.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Like he told Ringo Strangelove.
I was mixing up a part in part 3. Either way, yeah. But Fisk is basically like, well, I saved you, but you're still gonna die anyway because drug trafficking is punishable by death. And Romana's, I didn't invent the rules. I just enforce the rules.
And she's about to hit the button for the power controls.
If you hit that button, he's like, touch those controls and you die. And Romana's like, aren't you gonna kill me anyway? Fuck it.
Yeah.
So she hits the button, the ships start going wild, the frame rate goes apeshit, and as the doctor is leaving the power room, he goes frame rate wild and he dematerializes.
Oops.
Whoops.
This is kind of a wild cliffhanger because you don't know where the hell this is going.
Well, I've seen it before, but I pretty much figured out where.
All
this
right,
was going.
I didn't know where the hell this was going.
Okay, you did.
Because there was no reason for him to disappear, was there?
Well,
turns out there was, as it's revealed in part 4.
Which let's get to now.
So part 4 begins with all hell breaking loose. Romana's hit the button, the doctor's disappeared. In the confusion, Romana gets away from the customs agents because they're useless.
Also because he's conked out.
But lo and behold, the mad scheme to separate the ships actually worked.
Hot damn.
And we know it worked
because...
It's just
unfortunately the doctor is still technically missing.
Yes. We know it worked because Dimond at that point contacts the Empress and says, well, we're free now. Who's in charge here? And the customs agent introduces himself. And he says, I want to get out of here because I've got a deadline to meet. He says, no, I need you as a witness.
And Dimond looks very upset about this.
Totally, because he's not going to make his deadline. Nothing else at all.
Yeah.
No reason at all.
K9, meanwhile, can't find the doctor by scanning the ship, so that's something. But Romana, meanwhile, has a chat with Della about Stott and asks what happened to Stott. So Della tells her that they were on Eden, but then someone in the shadows stunned Stott, and the mandrill got him, and so they left. And I said it, sorry. Dr. Ringo Strangelove says that Dr. Ringo Strangelove told Della that Stott was dead. Interesting. That's very interesting because as we've seen Stott alive and well on this very ship.
Yeah. And there was a scene in part 3 that was quite heartbreaking where Stott talked about being able to see Della but not reach her.
Poor guy.
And I think Della realised that she could sense something but didn't realise it was him. I think that's mentioned in the dialogue. Anyway, Star-Crossed Young Lovers about to be reunited, etc., etc., etc. Meanwhile, what's going on with the Doctor?
Well, he wakes up and he finds a weird little ray gun looking contraption.
But where has he woken up?
On the Hecate.
On board the Hecate.
So this makes sense when you think about it. He was caught in on the other side of the dimensional separation, and so he got reconstituted on the other ship.
Yeah. Stands to reason.
Yeah.
So he decides to hide from Dimmond, as he's I guess he must suspect him at this point.
Well, he
'Cause
doesn't
otherwise, why would he
suspect him.
hide?
He finds out flat out he's part of it.
Well, I mean, but why would But why is he hiding before he finds out he's part of it?
Well,
That's what I'm saying.
he wakes up on the Hecate on board next to a laser, and then he hides from Dimmond. Then he accesses Dimmond's computer.
Dimmond accesses the computer first, and then the doctor checks it, and
Yeah,
it's
and there's the
basically
incriminating evidence right there,
Eden Project calculated to make a shitload of money. Beep beep boop boop.
which is interesting because the Eden Project now exists in this country, and it's not a drug smuggling ring.
Yeah, and as the doctor said, profits on
That you
human
know
suffering.
of.
No, it's an environmental project. It's not going to be about drugs.
The
Yeah, but may I remind you that this was a zoologist trying to do an environmental thing.
I'm talking about
to
the
save
real
endangered species.
Eden Project. Are you implying that the government would hide wrongdoing in something wholesome? Oh wait, god damn it!
Yeah, you kind of scoot yourself over there.
I love the doctor's line: "Profits on human suffering."
Not
Damn.
political at
'Cause it's
all,
like-
is it?
Not political at all. These idiots
Doctor Who
making a
political?
shitload of
Never.
making a shitload of money off of selling this drug and basically destroying entire planets from the addiction. Wow. But yeah, Dimmond is ready to head back to the Empress on his shuttle, and so the doctor sneaks onto the shuttle with right behind Dimmond to get back over to the Empress.
Because Dimmond has basically been told by the customs agents, if you try to escape, we'll impound your vehicle.
Yeah, so he's gonna head back over. But Trist, meanwhile, is convinced that the doctor went into the CET to hide, and he spins this lovely little yarn to the police there about hiding Vraxoin inside the CET. Why, that's a strange. I mean, who would do that for real? I wonder.
Maybe the person
And the doctor
whose
was
machine
clearly-
it is.
The doctor was clearly the pickup man sent to grab the stuff from inside. But why did he? But hey, why did he separate the ships? Oh, well, because
He's a criminal.
He's a criminal. Oh, yes, of course, he's a criminal. Well, that explains everything.
Oh, I hate that line so much.
I mean, it just shows how bureaucratically blinkered Fisk is. Yeah.
It shows how black and white they see the world.
No, you know what this shows? This shows how criminals, like actual criminals, can use the system in order to gain their own power or, freedom or whatever. He's essentially gaming the system.
Well, there it is. He's saying something. It's saying something about something.
Doctor Who,
Yes.
non-political alert.
Yeah.
Whoop, whoop,
And so
whoop,
the
whoop.
doctor, and so Dimmond comes out of the shuttle and back onto the Empress, and the doctor is close behind, and it's like, "Oh, Romana, hey, I was on the other ship. Oh shit, it's the cops! Run!"
Cheese it!
And so
It's the fuss.
And so they escape, but Della actually gets caught by one of the little coppers and is escorted away.
Yeah.
And so then we get the reveal as the doctor realizes that laser that's on the Hecate could be used to intercept a CET signal. The Fraxoan smugglers are Tristan Dimmond!
Yep.
Wow, we're all shocked by this. Absolutely nobody saw this coming whatsoever.
Shock
What
Pikachu face
twist?
insert here.
What a twist.
What the twist?
So they are the smugglers. They are the ones behind all of this happening. That's not going to work out too well for Della, unfortunately.
No.
But before that, the customs agents are told by the person who's actually in charge they're a bunch of idiots. Because the doctor has been figuring out the plot. He's working on the CET machine. In come the customs agents to arrest the doctor and shoot him if he moves. But thankfully, Stott's here to save the day. Verify that, yes, you are idiots. Because this man's been helping me. And the actual smugglers are Dr. Ringo Strangelove and Dimmond.
I love this because as soon as Stott comes out of the projection, the cops are like, they point their guns at him and then they point their guns back at the doctor like, who the fuck did we shoot?
Yeah.
I want to shoot somebody today! And yeah, it's Dr. Ringo Strangelove and Dimmond are the smugglers, and I'm a narcotics agent, so the doctor is helping me.
Also, I'm sorry, but I have to do this. It's Dr. Ringo Strangelove and Doug Dimmond Dome. Dome.
Well, speaking of the two, they're getting in their silver jumpsuits, ready to basically fuck off and leave this place.
But they've got a hostage, briefly.
Well, first Della confronts Dr. Ringo Strangelove. And this is an interesting scene because we don't get any motivation from Dimmond on why he's a drug smuggling criminal. But we get I said it again. We get Dr. Ringo Strangelove. I wrote it in my notes, see? So I'm saying what I wrote down instead of the funny name we just came up with. That's my explanation. And now, Dr. Ringo Strangelove explanation for why he's smuggling drugs. So, Della works out that he was the one who shot Stott, say that 5 times fast, because Stott was a narcotics agent and onto his grand scheme of drug smuggling, so he had to get rid of him. And Dr. Ringo Strangelove was like, but you don't understand, Della. The CET research costs so much money. I had to make it somehow. If I didn't do anything, those creatures would all have gone extinct, all the creatures in the CET. I was saving all sorts of species from extinction with this amazing technology that I just had to fund. And when Della says, what about the millions of people who are going to get addicted to Vraxoin and fucking die? He responds, well, it's their fault if they get addicted to hard drugs, not my fault.
Who's been messing up everything? It was capitalists all along.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Cat, when you have a soundboard back, that needs to be a button.
Yes, it will
That
be.
just needs to be a button for every political Doctor Who story from now on.
Trust me, it's going to be.
It was capitalism all along. But yeah. Fucking that's his weak ass justification. If I didn't do anything, all these creatures would go extinct. Except, you're literally killing these creatures to create the fucking drug that you're profiting off of.
And Doug Dimmond Dome is not about to be taken by the cops, so he's just taking Della as a hostage. It doesn't go very well for either them or her.
No.
Because here comes a mandrill.
She gets away pretty easily. And then she gets shot.
Womp.
And she gets it wrong because she clearly gets shot in the neck, but she holds the stomach.
Well,
At the very least, she's alive. Unlike some people.
The actress was probably given the wrong direction.
Can we say that she got it wrong, or the person putting in the ray gun effect got it wrong?
Somebody got the direction wrong.
Mm.
It was probably the person putting in the effect after everything.
If the actress got it wrong, then she got it wrong because she was given the wrong advice.
I mean, think about it. You'd have to film it first, start going, and falling over, and then you had to put the thing in after, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So it would have to be the ray gun effect person.
You would think so, unless they were told that she's going to take it in the neck, and then she took it in the stomach, but they still animated it for the neck. Anyway, whatever the reason,
either way,
a mistake was made, but it doesn't matter too much.
Either way, hot on the radio. Red alert. Dr. Ringo Strangelove and Dimmond are the drug smugglers. Arrest them instead of the Doctor and Romana.
Thank God for that.
We still have the problem of a whole bunch of goddamn mandrills are rampaging through the ship,
Yeah.
The guards have actually done something useful. They've managed to get them under control somewhat.
Mm-hmm.
But what are we going to do with them? We can't leave them on this ship. Oh, that's fine. The Doctor turns into the Pied Piper of Eden. That's exactly what they had in mind with this scene.
Yeah, that's right. So, he basically uses K9's dog whistle to get the mandrills to follow him, and he's leading them back into Eden so they can be contained in the CET. All this while Tristan Dimmond are heading back on the shuttle to the Hecate to escape. But they'll get dealt with in a second. But he leads them back in, and he's leading them into the jungle, and then he goes off screen. This is great. He starts going, ow, oof, ouch, oh, my fingers, my toes, my everything. And then when he comes out again,
So I'm so sorry to do this to you, But guess what?
What?
There's a meme for everything.
Oh God. Okay, here we go.
Sock it to us. Yeah.
My leg. Yeah, that's good. And then after he yells all this, the doctor comes out and he's got no coat. He's got his scarf is off, and he's just like, it's like the mandrels are like torn into shreds like a fucking cartoon. It's hilarious.
They shut
It's a
down the
good bit of
CT
comedy.
machine with the. I noticed they're trapped inside. They've returned to where they should be.
Yeah.
So Romana's
It's like-
got to rebuild it because something's gone wrong. Now what about our smugglers? Well, what do we do about them? Well, is it Stott or the customs boys that come up with the idea of catching them in the act?
Whoever it is.
We can't arrest them without evidence. Well, we don't have any evidence. But let them provide the evidence. What are you talking about? Let them make the transfer.
Hey.
And that's exactly what they do.
Yep.
But there's a
Before
rather
that-
brilliant bit
This is so cute.
where the doctor turns the tables on our smugglers by putting them in the damn projection machine.
This is great, but first of all, they're playing with the machine, and they need to boost the power, so they hook K9 up to it like a car battery.
Yeah.
His little ear dish things get hooked up to it.
It's so good, but yeah, they start the transfer to try and transfer Eden to their TET thing to get away with the drugs.
It
But,
does work, but that's what
Yeah,
they wanted.
it works, and then the cops immediately come in and they're like, well, doctor, your plan failed miserably. And the doctor's like, actually, I think you'll find your criminals right there. And, yeah, he reversed the polarity, if you will. Instead of them scanning the Eden, they got scanned into the CET. And they're just sitting right there in the
Honestly,
projection.
when I saw this, I thought the mandrels were going to eat them.
That would be a little dark, but...
Very dark.
But either way, yeah. He's like, well, all you gotta do now is walk up and arrest them. Which he does.
Yeah.
But Dr. Ringo Strangelove just tries one last time. He's like, Doctor, please, you have to understand. You're a scientist. I had to do it. I had to do it for science. And Tom Baker's just like, go away.
Yeah, he's not happy.
Yeah.
Drugs are bad, okay?
They
so-
don't. The drugs don't work. They just make you worse.
And so that's a Nightmare of Eden, yeah.
Yeah. Should we do a quick summing up then?
Yeah, who wants to go first?
It was your pick, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You choose who goes first.
Yeah. Go ahead.
You mean Rain go ahead, or do you mean I pick who goes ahead?
You. Go Frez.
You go for it.
Oh. Yeah. You go, Rain.
Oh, right. Hot potatoes passed to me.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Somebody go.
Okay. All right. So,
Fucking hell.
I think it's fair to say that this would not be anybody's favourite Doctor Who story.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say that. It's not going to top any lists. What it is a perfectly competent Tom Baker episode. And all that encapsulates. And it's pretty enjoyable, honestly. There's very few filler moments of what we call writers gotta eat. We have some interesting guest characters and villains. The mandrels are adorable, even though they weren't supposed to be. And the whole CET concept is really interesting for a sci-fi story. And Tom Baker gets to be goofy Tom Baker, and Lalla Ward is really good accompaniment as Romana. K9's back, although with the wrong voice. Yeah, I'd not seen it before and I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it. Like you said, it's not like top 10 Tom Baker or anything. It's no Warrior's Gate or City of Death to pull from the same season, but I enjoyed rewatching Nightmare of Eden. It's got some fun high concepts, got some fun comedy. You've got the iconic Tom Baker, second Romana and K9. one of my favorite TARDIS teams. And a lot going on here. You've got the CET machine, the merged ships, the idea of the monsters being the drugs, the idea of an anti-drug story with all this incredible just stuff, political undercurrent going on if you really read into it. It's a good pick. I had a good time with it. And that's all I really had to say about Nightmare of Eden. So, Kat, after you finished crafting your SR Madolce card, what would you like to say about Nightmare of Eden?
No, I just got Monster Reborn and now everybody's fucked. Honestly, this was a pretty damn good serial. I had a lot of fun with it. Tom Baker is swiftly starting to encroach on Colin Baker's #1 slot in my list of doctors. Um, he's honestly just pretty damn amazing. The script is pretty damn amazing, especially with all the jokes and everything. I liked all the side characters, well, except for one, but he wasn't supposed to be likable. I had a very decent good time. A bit heavy-handed maybe on the drug story, but usually drug stories are pretty heavy-handed because the drugs. Um, but all in all, it was a very decent story. It had some interesting twists to it, like you said, with the monsters actually being the drugs. That was cool. Um, and I'm glad that you picked this. It was very good.
Thank you. And I wonder if we have a good pick for next time, or if we're fucked.
Well, before we
What's
get
the
to that
verdict?
pick, there is something I forgot to mention
Oh God, what's
in
that?
regards to behind the scenes of Nightmare of Eden.
Oh,
So I
what's
think
that?
it's fair to say we all enjoyed it somewhat, right?
Uh-huh.
It's kind of a miracle we did because the shoot was awful.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, the director was Alan Bromley,
Uh-huh.
and the cast and crew hated him.
Oh, joy.
So much so that he resigned halfway through the shoot.
Oh jeez.
Well.
The producer had to step in to finish it,
Oh Lord.
and the producer decided to step away from Doctor Who at the end of the season because of this.
Oh my God, this is why Graham Williams quit.
Yeah,
oh
this is exactly why Graham Williams quit. But he did at least see the he liked the serial itself. He tried to extol its virtues to his superiors in internal memos and that, but then he left the show. So kind of a miracle it all worked out as it did, but it did.
I mean, considering that two stories after this is the infamous fucking Shada. Graham Williams had a fucking rough time this season, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Like,
And now I've said
wants to-
that, Kat, what have you got for us next week?
So you know how I usually do my thing where I make a big thing out of what we're going to choose, or I make a big joke, or I avert all your expectations. Nah, it's the war games.
Oh,
The War Games.
Yes.
Okay, can I make a suggestion?
No tricks, no jokes, nothing like that. Just the war games.
Can I make a suggestion then?
No.
Well, I'm going to make it anyway. The War Games is 10 parts long.
and
It is a
25
classic.
minute
And?
episodes.
Should we split it into 2 podcasts?
Yes.
I mean, if we have to.
I mean, I would like to, 'cause otherwise, I mean, we like our own behind the scenes here. We usually do these in about like a 2.5 hour frame window, and we're not gonna get through 10 fucking classic parts of the war games in that.
Because I am perfectly happy to defer my next pick for a week and do 2 weeks of the War Games back to back.
Well,
Oh no! There has been my troll all along. The fact that I totally knew it was 10 parts long.
to be fair, I was banding around doing this exact thing and taking Rainiac's pick and making it a double biller. So
I was too.
Basically-
I was thinking of doing the War Games as well. So at some point we're going to get to it.
we're all mirroring
At
each
that point-
other. Fuck.
That point is now.
Because it does... This does have to be covered.
Yes.
It is a monumental story for the show. In multiple ways.
Yeah.
It's the longest... well, no, actually, no. The Dalek Master Plan is that. But... and Trial of a Time Lord. But it does have major implications for Doctor Who as a whole.
And also, the actual story behind it is interesting.
Yep.
So that'll be interesting. So yeah, we'll probably do the first 5 episodes of the War Games
That's my
next
suggestion.
time.
Parts 1 to 5 next week, next
Yeah.
weekend. Parts 6 to 10 the following weekend, and then push my
I
pick
mean,
on
yeah.
to the weekend of Valentine's Day. Which actually, if we're going to do what I think we're going to do next after War Games, is strangely fitting.
I don't know what we're going to do next because it would be your pick.
That's what I'm saying. What I had in
Yeah.
mind, I think that could be strangely fitting. So you know what?
You
This
just have
works
to wait
out.
2 weeks for it.
This might work out. So let's wrap up, shall we?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you can find us lovely people, since Jerry didn't prompt me, on Twitter at Reviews Doctor. You can find us individually at Concave Usurper, at Freezing Inferno, and at Rainiac the Maniac. Cat sometimes streams video games at twitch.tv/Concave Usurper. And speaking of streaming video games, somebody else is doing that tonight.
Okay, so here's the thing.
Tonight being Sunday night, by the way.
Yeah, Sunday night, January the 23rd.
Sunday,
7 p.m.
Sunday,
EST. Sunday. I am doing a actual stream, a non-Frezno stream. Now, by the time you at home hear this, the stream will have ended, obviously. So so unless you were there, like, you probably were there. But if you weren't, well, by now you probably know what happened, but just in case.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
So,
Okay.
here it is! Oh, hello there. So yeah, this is the big surprise. Not 3 hours after we finished recording this podcast, I started the non-Frezno stream and revealed that I have become a virtual YouTuber. This amazing little PNG model was done by my artist friend, the talented Sweets Parade on Twitter. Give her a follow. And it just absolutely turned out wonderful. I mean, here, look at my pins. Let's just expand me so we can look at the pins. Look at them. I don't know if they're turning out that well because I'm expanding the image, but they are really good. And, you know, there's a little TARDIS there, and there's even, a little Symphogear pendant around my neck because Symphogear is that important to me. So, okay, we're just gonna, the scaling fuckery. So, yeah, I will now be streaming sometimes at twitch.tv/freezinginferno, so please give me a follow, and, okay, I'm gonna let Rainiac end this sucker now. Bye. And I know you can't react to the wonderful thing now.
Oh
That
my
sure was
god!
Wow,
That
Yeah.
thing was so cool, my titties flew off.
Well, now I'm eager to see what you think of the actual stream, but we'll get to that tonight. But yeah, so say goodnight, Rainiac.
Good night, Rainiac.
Good night. So thank you.
And I actually have one thing to promote. I almost forgot.
Oh yeah,
Live Death to the 11th Hour by Chris McTeague.
Thank you. Got to promote
Gotcha.
that. Say goodnight, Rainiac.
Good night, Rainiac.
Right, Rainiac. So thank you to you, the audience, for listening to us talk about Nightmare of Eden. We hope you enjoyed it, and join us next time for parts 1 to 5 of the War Games.
Yay.
The War Games. It'll make sense when you see the title sequence.
Yeah, I know.
The only winning move is not to watch the War Games.
But we're doing it anyway because we don't know any better.
No, that's actually a good story.
It is.
Oh, I've heard.
Fun fact.
But I wanted to make
Fun
a joke.
fact. I own the War Games on VHS.
Hey.
Oh, is it like Titanic when it came on 2 VHSs?
You bet it is.
Yep, kind of figured.
So in other words, we're in for a long haul.
We're only watching one of those tapes today. Well,
We're still in for a long haul.
I'll probably watch a digital copy since I don't want to go downstairs and watch Doctor Who on
Well,
the
that's
VCR
for next
right now.
weekend, so we've got to worry about that next weekend. So until then, bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Who would like to go next?
Cat, you want to take it?
Frez.
You're still playing Yu-Gi-Oh, aren't you?
Oh, hang on.
Maybe.
I just need to log in to get my dailies. So 1 second.
I'm
like the show on the
choosing-
other foot. Now I'm mirroring you.
Fuck.
I'm not putting that in the
Or-
edit.
Okay, who is going next?
Come on, you gotta put that in the edit. It's the fucking culmination of the joke.
I'm not putting that in the edit. One of you go first. You go next.
All right, I got my fucking 300 gems. I just wanted to load that up for the bit. It's blooper reel me.